Um, hey, I'm going to share something which is very personal, and the Lord has placed it on my heart that I need to do this. Just recently He's got me dropping my guard. You know, I'm a boxer and I've always held this to protect my art, and recently He's told me to drop it, because He goes, your vulnerability is your strength. You got to share your past sorry story. It's for His glory. So okay, I'm gonna start. So the day I was born, I was rejected by my old man, because in an Indian culture, you know, they want a boy first, don't they? And so yeah, I've got two brothers who's a year younger, and the other one's 8 years younger. So I'm the eldest, firstborn who was rejected because she was a girl. But the thing is, like, my dad just kind of brought me up as a boy, so I done all boy things. I had brothers, cousins who were boys. I played with boys at school. Football was my favourite sport. Played boys' toys. Never had a doll in my life. Yet my dad wanted me to be this Indian girl with a lot of respect. You know how to cook in the kitchen, like, know her duties. Yeah, so he also shared with me a lot of the body language, you know, how a girl's supposed to be, and it was all to do with the eyes, you know, like through the eyes, you know, you can tell how a woman is, you know, through the eyes. You see shame, you see a woman who's interested, like flirting, a woman who shows respect, wants respect. And yeah, that was placed in me, you know, like, know that you gotta demand respect from everyone, and it's through the eyes, you know. So with boys, they knew they had to respect me. That's how I was brought up. But I was also brought up with a lot of violence in the house. My dad was an alcoholic, and he used to beat up on my mum and me and my brother mainly, not my younger brother as such, because he was a bit of a, you know, softy, I suppose, and we used to protect him as well because he was 8 years younger. But me and my brother, who's a year younger, we got it hardcore, you know, belts, sticks, yeah, thrown down the stairs, strangled, you name it, we went for it. And we didn't even know why we got beat. There were times when we just didn't understand why. As I grew up, I kind of knew, like, my dad kind of rejected us because he didn't really love my mum, you know. They had arranged marriage, and so yeah, we were the produce of that, and that was quite annoying to him, I suppose. So we were like punch bags to him. My mum didn't really help much either, you know, like, she had mental health issues which affected us as well, like, so she was quite mentally and emotionally abusive, where he was physically. So yeah, and if we look into the attachment issue, or, you know, I come from a category which is called disorganised. It's one of the worst, you know, those who have the most abuse as childhood. And yeah, so people from this category don't really live long, you know. Eventually they commit suicide in whatever way, drug misuse to, you know, eating disorders to, you know, self-harm. And I've done all that too. But somehow I was saved every time. And I want to stress this because I look back now that I am saved by Jesus. It was always him who was looking out for me, who had his protective hands over me all the way through. I mean, I experimented with everything, really, from hardcore drug misuse. I was a proper junkie, like, you know, and it wasn't just, you know, weed. There was many drugs that I experimented with. I also drank a lot, like a geezer, you know, jars and jars of beer. I'd go down the pub with my fellow brothers and just, yeah. I was anorexic to a point where I went down to, 4 stones. That's like probably about 50-60 pounds maybe, if that, I don't know. But yeah, skin and bones I was. But I also had this like self-control of not eating, but then losing control by binging and then purging, puking up. Like I've also kind of like, you know, self-harm in ways that were quite disturbing, really. With blades. Yeah. I just wanted to see the blood pour, and it satisfied me. Don't know what that was about, but yeah, I needed to do that. It was an urge. But I was so aware that, you know, I might do damage to myself, so, you know, I was very careful with the treatment, you know, cleansing it and then bandaging it like neatly until next time. So yeah, I've seen a lot as well, you know, because I've seen street life. I have been in, you know, on the street, been homeless, you know, at a young age. I was 17, in and out of hostels, and then on the street, my fellow homeless people. And the most humble people, actually. They looked after me well, you know, like looked out for each other. But yeah, I'm sharing this because the Lord told me to, and I feel it might help someone, because throughout my life I somehow survived, and I don't know how, really. I mean, I've also had a death experience, like literally had a death experience, and I've shared that with my Facebook family for a post, which like kind of, I wasn't sure whether to share it, but I did, and many people resonated with that and shared it, like, you know, big time. There were times when I did actually show my vulnerability, but the Lord is saying, like, I want you to show all of it. Every single part of you, your story, sorry story, has to be shared. Because what I went through is for me to share now, and to glorify the Lord, because He was there. I mean, many close people who do know about my story, they're just like, how did you survive? seriously, just don't get it, really don't get it, like, so I just, yeah, I mean, I've had relationships that failed. If you don't have a relationship with your parents that is sound, it will affect your relationships as partners, you know, like, so the 3 relationships that I had were unstable, especially the last 2. They were very violent in a sense, and I can't just say that they were like just towards me. I gave it some as well, you know, like I weren't gonna have it. I weren't gonna have them physically hurting me, because my old man said, you know, never let any man tell you what to do, and sometimes he didn't realise that actually he's a man too, so I'm going to tell him about himself as well, like, so yeah, you know, throughout my school life even, you know, I used to beat up bullies, because it just reminded me of my dad, you know, so I was like this hero type of person, you know, helping the victims, and became popular through that, you know, see who I could beat up. Boys were the ones that I wanted to, because they were challenging, and you know, just knock them out, you know, give them an uppercut, that's it, gone. Yeah, so that's, I had a lot of anger, and yeah, weren't good, but that was a way for me to actually pour out my hurt, you know. I made people fearful of me. It felt powerful in a way, but when I used to come home, like, I used to cry because it didn't feel right. When I beat up someone, even if it was a bully, I used to come home and cry, thinking like, I've hurt them. And yeah, I don't know, but lately everything's just been cropping up. I have got over my past. I've forgiven everyone. I've forgiven my father. I love him to bits, you know. I live with him at the moment. When I came back to my parents' home at the age of 44, I had to build a new relationship with them, and it's been great, you know. I'm really close to my dad now. That's the power of Jesus, you know. He brought me here to repair and restore that relationship that I never had, and I didn't ever think I would ever have. But he's so good. We've got such a good God. He's so amazing. What he's done in my life, what he's done in my daughter's life. But I still kind of like feel a sense of, you know, rejection in a way, because that's all I've ever kind of experienced in, you know, from my dad to my relationships to friendships and what have you. I kind of always been an outcast, the odd one, and black sheep, the weirdo, the one who used to just live in her own world, her spiritual world as such, because this world didn't really make sense to me. really didn't. So this is, I feel really vulnerable and naked at the moment, like, but I've got to do what Jesus tells me to. So yeah, lately, I've been going through a bit of a spiritual, challenging journey as such. Many revelations have come upon me, you know, and my relationship with Christ has been stronger and stronger every day. I have an identity in Him, and He's been so faithful towards me, been so comforting. I have amazing connection with 4 brothers and a sister in Christ. They're like 4 brothers and that sister in Christ who's like the rock at the moment for me. I fellowship with them every day, and it's like Jesus' hand, you know, powerful. And I've revealed a lot to them because I feel closer to them than my own sibling. To me, they're my real brothers and sisters. So they are supporting me to share this with everyone. And so the connections I've made is in the hands of Jesus. He made those connections, and it's such a like amazing. It's the synchronicity I had. It's so different to when I was in New Age. It wasn't never permanent. It wasn't for real. It was very temporary and superficial. Where the connections I have now is just absolutely perfect. The divine timing, how Jesus works, is just mind-blowing. And it's just, you know, every day is different. Like His daily bread, you know, He's given, like, I can't explain it, but every day is like, oh wow, because I'm not living according to my feelings anymore, or I feel like doing this or I feel like doing that. It's not even like that anymore. I do what He tells me to do. I obey Him. It's His will that becomes my will. He's the captain of this vessel. Yeah. He gives me what I need every day. It's just been great. It really has been great. And I love Him so much. And yeah, so my fellow brothers and sister in Christ have been really amazing. And yeah, I've been going through my old YouTube channel, which is under my old name, Ravinda Atwal, ATWAL. Ravinda is RAVINDER. If anyone wants to go and have a butcher's, you can do, because the Lord told me to keep that channel open. I was deleting it, and then He told me not to. So He goes, Let people see what you was like, if they want to. And let them see who you are now, in me. There's a lot of hurt, you will see that. There's a lot of pain. I'm with my ex-partner, my daughter's father, and that relationship, that was really not good. It was painful. You could see that pain. And I'm trying to mask it. I'm effing and blinding, that was the lingo I used. It was so, you know, habitual, normal. So that's, yeah, I thought I'd warn you on that. And I'm smoking spliffs all day, every day. Most of those videos as well, so I have nothing to be ashamed about, the Lord saying, because I had to go through what I had to go through to be who I am today. You know, childhood issues are a serious problem, you know. It can affect you for the rest of your life, what happens to you as a child, if you don't receive any love. You know, you don't have to be in tune with your child 100%. It's only required 30%. If you have that relationship with your child, you fit in this secure attachment, not insecure, which has 3 categories of like ambivalent, avoidant and disorganised. There are many children who are abused and they are lost, but they can only be found in Christ alone. And so, yeah, we've got to help this next generation. My stories actually resonate with young people so much so. I mean, I build this relationship with youngers immediately. I have this connection with them because I suppose I had it hard as a child, adolescent, young adult. You know, throughout my life really. I mean, I was saved when I was 44. So, I'll be 47 this year. Jesus is my saviour. He's everything to me. I wanted to share a song actually. It's from my brother in Christ, Jason Bellard. He's pretty known actually on, like, in the Christian music. Yeah, so if you want to YouTube him, listen to his stuff. It's powerful. But this particular song, he said he wrote before we met. Like, oh, I had a connection. I say we met because we video talk with my 5 fellow family in Christ. I have this amazing relationship with them online because they're over the pond. Like, the only sister that is here, and she lives in Peterborough. She's a YouTuber as well, and her name's Chelsea from Jesus is Truth, and so I fellowship with her and my 4 brothers in America. Like, so this particular song he wrote, and he said the Lord gave it to him. When I listened to it, it was like all about me, and I thought, how did you know? How did you know? He goes, I didn't. The Lord gave it to me. So I'd like to share that with you.
Hello everybody. Let's start off song. This is a song that the Lord gave me a few months ago. It's for you. I pray it would help me to run this race with patience and endure until the end. Everybody's telling you that you're okay. Everybody watches you fall apart. And everybody's trying to be your Sunday. They don't understand the pieces of your heart. And everybody's asking, how are you? Never really wanting to know your pain. When you're trying way too hard to stay so cool. And you can't even think straight. It's okay to cry. It's okay to break down one more time. It's okay to scream. Will you try so hard to walk the line? It's okay to break. Oh, when you're lost and feeling stuck, but when all is done, remember who you are. Don't give up. No, never. So don't give up. And everybody says you're beautiful, but around you wish you could feel that too. Most times you feel you're not enough, even though you know that they all speak the truth. Wake up and see your team lead. You deserve something bigger than today. But when you're lucky is what you learn from this. And your heart is not cast away. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to break down one more time. It's okay to scream. When you try so hard to walk the line, it's okay to break. Oh, when you're lost and feeling stuck, but when all is done, remember who you are. Don't give up. God is on your side. And He says who you are. It's Jesus. Oh, God is on your side. Never fall for anyone again who treats you ordinary. You'll never give anyone what's meant for someone else. And guard your heart from what may be just temporary. Because your heart was meant for more than just a shell. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to break down one more time. It's okay to scream. Will you try so hard to walk the line? It's okay to break. Oh, when you're lost and feeling stuck, but when all is done, remember who you are. Don't give up.
Sorry. You know, I keep my videos raw, real, I've got nothing to hide. So I want to end it with a bit of verses from the scripture. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. And that's Romans chapter 8 verse 18 from the King James Version. This one. And not only, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. Also in Romans chapter 5 verse 3 and 4. And this one. For as much then as Christ hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. And that's 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 1. I needed to share this. I mean, I haven't actually just surfaced it all, but I hope this helps anyone, and to be encouraged that it's only through Jesus that we can actually live. He is the only way, the truth and life. I was a walking dead zombie for most of my life. He's given me a chance to live again in him, through him. I love you, and God bless you all, and hopefully I'll make my funny video next, eh? But me and my daughter are going to do a dance one, because I know a lot of Christians have a problem with that creative element. They're okay with like art, music, song, but when it comes to dance it's like, yeah, but Jesus is our Lord, and he's Lord of the dance too. That's an Irish song, Lord of the Dance. It reflects Jesus' life and ministry. And yeah, and King David, he danced his heart out with all his might, and his wife was embarrassed. So that just shows in it, like, he danced. We need to grab back our creativity and, you know, glorify our Lord with that. Us artists, we need to do that. It's important, because the enemy has taken the arts and perverted it big time. You see it everywhere. And us Christian artists, we need to like recover that and, you know, give praise to our Lord. Creativity belongs to him. So yeah, this is why my channel's called Draw to Restore. You know, draw nigh to him and he will draw nigh to you. God is amazing. I love you. Take care, peeps.